Right, so I think that it should go without saying by now that I really quite like citrus, and so having missed 2 days because it was hot, I was really lacking motivation, and it really wasn't raining, and having thought the rains had arrived, when they then sort of disappear and the ground starts drying out again, it can get quite depressing. So we're going to be planting 3 today, and we're going to be sort of going into progressively shadier parts as we do that, and I'll be talking about which citrus it is. Each one of them will have the same companion plant, so that's going to be Dracaena fragrans for shade and a marker. We're going to be having Aloe cameroni, which will perform a thick prickly barrier around the base of the plant as it grows and sort of adds extra heads, and that should stop things that want to eat the plant right down, any vertebrate pests. And then we're going to be adding a toxic barrier in the form of Calico-Fetchinkoi, which is the lavender scallops, which will hopefully form a little succulent thicket to shade the ground and also make it a little bit harder for insect pests to discover the plant, because it's chemically different enough from citrus that it's going to interfere with their discovery of their potential hosts. It might also do another little trick with thrips, but I'm not entirely sure if this species is appropriate for that, so I'm not really going to talk about that. But we're going to be starting with our only true species, which is Citrus hystrix, which is sometimes called the Macrut or Ceylon lime. It is a lime, and I would usually refer to it by a different name, but I don't like saying that name because of historical context. But that will be up on the screen because I do think the culture that this is associated with does deserve credit for that. So this is a lime which I've mostly planted in shady spots because it is mostly used for the leaf, and in shady spots things tend to not need much water. But the very first one I planted, which was last year or possibly before that, I planted in quite a sunny spot, and it's done very, very well. It's actually, because I miscalculated, it's been getting much more sun at the hottest time of the year, and it's been absolutely fine despite being almost completely neglected. So this one is going in a relatively open area, so hopefully we will get some fruit, because the fruit is also quite nice from this. It's good for cooking with. It's not one you eat out of hand. It is very much a lime. It's not got much juice, but it's got a very pleasant flavoured and scented pith. Second up, we're going slightly further into the shade, where we're going to be planting Citrus X Jambieri, which is a cross between a mandarin and a citron. So this is not the same as Citrus X Lemon, which is the true lemon. This is a rough lemon, which is more commonly used as a rootstock, not usually for things like Eureka lemons, but for a wide range of citrus growing in the tropics. This is a very popular rootstock. In Zambia, it's quite popular as a tree in and of itself because it grows quite readily. It grows fairly true from seed. And it's very hardy. It's well bearing in most climates in Zambia, and it's just a good tree, and it's slightly less sour in my experience than true lemons. I find it a little less offensive, and the rind I think has a slightly nicer flavour, and it also generally, not always, keeps a little bit better. It will want morning sun to bear fruit, and it's not one that I usually use the leaves of, although I think you can use them very much like you can use the leaves of true lemon in flavouring things and in sort of frying them and so forth. But mostly I want this for the fruit. Third up today, we're going further into the shade, where I seem to have picked up a very annoying hitchhiker in the form of one very irritable bee who just will not leave me alone. Honeybees are objectively the least useful insect. So this is a citrus which is actually the same cross as a typical lemon, so it's a pomelo and a mandarin and a citron combined, but this is usually treated as a separate hybrid. Sometimes it's treated as a cultivar of lemon, but I think it actually has a separate origin. So this is Citrus X Limonetta, usually, which is the Indian lime or sweet lime. It shouldn't be confused with the West Indian lime, which is also called the Mexican lime, the key lime, and various other things. And that one actually grows quite well from cutting. This is probably on rough lemon rootstock, but this is a little bit lumpier basically than those limes. It does tend to have seeds, unlike the Tahiti lime, so it's not so good as a bartender's lime, but it is quite a nice flavoursome one, and it's very shade tolerant. It's very hardy in shade. I have found they are very sensitive in full sun, but in a light shade that they don't get any afternoon sun at all, they are very resilient to neglect. And this is quite a nice large one, so it shouldn't mind if it takes a little bit for the rain to come and sort of water it in properly. And that should be everything for tonight, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't enjoyed it, thank you for watching anyway. Please tune in again tomorrow, because I will be planting something different, provided the rain and the owls and the heat and the bees all allow that, but we'll see.